I wake up to the sound of the wind rustling through the trees, the bed beside me cold and empty. My husband has been gone for days now, and though I know he will return, the loneliness lingers like an unwelcome guest. The house is quiet, too quiet. I move through my morning routine, the weight of solitude pressing down on me. Outside, the sky is a dull gray, a mirror to my mood. I head to the stable, where the donkey stands, its dark eyes watching me with indifference. It's stubborn, as always, refusing to move when I pull at the reins. Frustrated, I sigh, brushing a loose strand of hair from my face. The work must be done, whether I like it or not. As I struggle, a voice cuts through the air. Need help? I turn to see him, Daniel. He's been around for a while now, helping with odd jobs, always polite, always easygoing. He steps forward without waiting for an answer, his strong hands taking control where mine have failed. With a few gentle words, the donkey finally moves. I exhale, shaking my head. He listens to you more than he listens to me. Daniel grins. Maybe he just likes me better. I laugh, but there's a flicker of something in his eyes, something warm, something lingering. I brush it off. He's just being friendly. I'm just lonely. As we work, conversation flows naturally. I tell him about my husband's work, how often he's away. Daniel listens, nodding in understanding, never interrupting. There's a comfort in his presence, a stark contrast to the silence I've grown used to. At one point, my fingers graze his as we reach for the same tool. It's brief, barely a second, but I feel the warmth of his skin. I pull back quickly, pretending not to notice, but my heart beats a little faster. He doesn't say anything, just keeps working. The day stretches on, and the loneliness I woke up with feels different now. Less sharp, less suffocating. I shouldn't enjoy this. I shouldn't enjoy him. But when he looks at me again, with that easy smile and knowing eyes, I realize something I don't want to admit. I miss my husband, but I don't feel alone anymore. The days pass, and I find myself anticipating Daniel's arrival more than I should. It's not intentional. I tell myself this over and over. He's just helpful, just easy to talk to. That's all. But when I catch myself fixing my hair before heading outside, I know I'm lying. Today, he's already waiting by the stable, leaning against the wooden fence, as if he belongs here. Thought I'd get a head start, he says with that same effortless smile. I nod, keeping my distance, but my heart betrays me with its unsteady rhythm. We work in silence for a while, the only sounds the rustling leaves and the occasional huff from the donkey. Then he speaks, his voice softer than usual. You seem different lately. I hesitate. Different how? He shrugs. I don't know. Quieter. Like your mind's somewhere else. It is. It's here, standing too close to him, wondering why every glance, every word feels heavier than it should. Just tired, I say, forcing a small smile. But he doesn't buy it. You don't have to pretend with me. Something in the way he says it makes my breath catch. He's always been kind, but this is different. This is personal. This is dangerous. I step away, focusing on the task at hand, but it doesn't help. The tension lingers, thick and unspoken. And then, as if the universe is testing me, the donkey refuses to move again. I tug at the rope, frustration bubbling up, but it only digs its hooves in further. Daniel steps behind me, his hands brushing mine as he takes hold of the rope. His fingers are rough, warm, steady. Relax, he murmurs, his voice too close, too intimate. I should pull away. I don't. The donkey finally moves, but I stay frozen, my body hyper-aware of his proximity. When I finally turn, he's watching me, not with expectation, not with arrogance, but with understanding. I should go inside, I whisper. He nods, but neither of us moves. I feel it then, the shift, the moment we both realize the line we're dangerously close to crossing. My husband's face flashes in my mind, and guilt claws at my chest. I step back, putting space between us, but the damage is done. I don't know what's worse, the fact that I felt something or the fact that I didn't want it to stop. The rain comes without warning, heavy drops pelting the ground as the sky darkens. I rush to gather the tools left outside, my clothes quickly dampening. Daniel appears at my side, his presence now familiar, expected. "You'll catch a cold," he says, voice barely audible over the downpour. I don't respond. I can't. Every moment between us has led to this, and I feel it pressing against my ribs, something unspoken but undeniable. The donkey brays in protest as we push it into the shelter. I'm soaked, my hair clinging to my skin, my breath uneven. Daniel reaches for my arm to steady me, and that's all it takes. I don't know if I move first or if he does. I just know that suddenly, the space between us no longer exists. His hands are on my face, his lips hovering near mine, waiting for permission I shouldn't give. "This is wrong," I whisper, but my body betrays me, leaning into the warmth, the comfort, the fire of something I've denied for too long. His breath is heavy, his eyes searching mine. "Then tell me to stop." I should. I need to. But I don't. Instead, I close the distance, and the moment our lips meet, everything else disappears. The rain, the guilt, the warnings in my head, all drowned beneath the weight of desire. His hands trace my spine, pulling me closer, deeper into something I can't take back. Every touch, every stolen second, unravels the version of myself I thought I knew. When it finally ends, we stand there, breathing hard, reality creeping back in. I step away first, my fingers trembling. This can't happen again. Daniel watches me, his expression unreadable. He doesn't argue. He doesn't promise anything. He just nods. I leave without another word, my heart pounding, my mind screaming. I tell myself it was a mistake. But as I lie in bed that night, staring at the ceiling, I know that's a lie. Because I wanted it. And worse, I want more. My husband's voice fills the kitchen, casual, familiar. He talks about his trip, about the long drives and the people he met, but I barely hear him. I nod at the right moments, force a smile when he looks at me, but my mind is elsewhere. On the way Daniel's hands felt. On the way my breath caught when he whispered my name. On the way I crossed a line I can never uncross. I place his coffee in front of him, my fingers unsteady. He doesn't notice. Or maybe he does but assumes it's exhaustion, not guilt. That's the thing about trust. It blinds you to the possibility of betrayal. Outside, Daniel is working. I see him through the window, moving like nothing has changed. But everything has. I tell myself to stay inside, to ignore the pull tightening in my chest. But when my husband steps away to take a call, my feet move on their own. I step outside, my pulse thrumming in my ears. He turns when he hears me, wiping his hands on his jeans. We stand there, a breath apart, the weight of yesterday pressing down on us. I should have stopped it, I say, my voice barely above a whisper. Daniel watches me for a long moment before responding. Did you want to? Silence. That's the answer, isn't it? I shake my head, forcing myself to look away. This can't happen again. He nods, but the air between us says something else. The donkey brays, and I flinch, as if the universe itself is reminding me of the mess I've made. I turn to leave, to put distance where it's needed, but before I reach the door, he speaks again. You don't have to lie to me. I pause, fingers tightening around the doorknob. Inside, my husband is waiting, his voice carrying through the walls, steady, trusting. I step back into my home, into my marriage, but something in me stays outside. Something I don't know how to bury.